Share screen, please.
Wait sa mama.
Noted.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay, so again, while waiting for the presentation of Mr. Arsenal, do you have any questions or clarifications?
Kita na, ma'am?
Yes, kitang-kita. Go ahead, kindly proceed.
So, my report is all about... Yay ka. Kita ra, ma'am?
Yes, go ahead.
So, good afternoon to all of here. My report is all about Sablayan, Penal Colony, and Farm on Occidental Mindoro. Sablayan. Sablayan was derived from the word sablay, a Visayan term meaning we convergence. In the early times, the very location of the town was where the waves flow from North and South China Sea. Hence the name Sablay that later becomes Sablayan. Sablayan is a first-class municipality in the province of the Occidental Mindoro, Philippines. Sablayan Penal Colony, the Philippines' largest penal facility with sprawling lot of 16,190 hectares, is also located in municipality. Sablayan Prison and Penal Farm. Founded on September 27, 1954 by virtue of the Proclamation number of 72 dated September 27, 1954. One of the prison nearer to Metro Manila. The penal colony is designed for minimum security prisoners. Primary product, rice. Rice is used also to supply the NBP. The sub-colonies were later organized. One is the reservation, which this remains part of protected rainforest. Another is the coastal area. The third was used by the national government as a recollection site for the refugees from the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in 1991. Sablayan Prison is facility where personnel from NBD...
Arsenal, your slide is not moving, dong?
Wala na, ma'am.
Yes, dong.
Ano, ma'am?
It's not moving actually.
Wait, ma'am.
What you're going to do, ibinagsa na siya o click tong ibinagsa o click. Oh, okay na. Binagsa o click tong.
Yeah, balik na. Timok ra, ma'am.
Wala. I-click ra siya og binagsa daw kana. Okay na, nagimok na. I-click ra siya og binagsa.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
The 3 Sablayan colonies were later organized. One is the reservation, which today remains part of protected rainforest. Another is a coastal area. The third was used by national government as regulation of site refugees from the direction of Mount Pinatubo. Sablayan prison is facility where persons from NBD are both for recognition purposes. It follows the same colony standard as the penal farms. Prison records show that the first colonists and employees has arrived in Sablayan on January 15, 1955. Since then, the several buildings have been constructed, including the colonies, dormitories, employees' quarters, guardhouse, schoolhouse, chapel, recreation hall, and post exchange. Unlike any other of usual penal colony, the prisoners here are almost enjoying their freedom. Instead of being locked down inside the concrete structure with metal bars, they can roam around the area without so much restriction. They are also made to tell the land area so they have their own supply of less basic food requirements for during their stay. So kani nga jail guys kay kuan ni siya kanang mura rag nasla sa balay ba kay tungod dako kayong area daghan sila ang mga kuan dito daghang mga programa mo nang dili sila maboring ito free ra sila nga maglakaw-lakaw kay nama sila yung mga duties pud ba nga ginabuhat. Prisoners are allowed to build their nipa huts, and since it mix of different religions, churches and worship houses were constructed to cater various religion of the prisoner. Some inmates were also to have their husband with inside the colony. This is evident from some playground around the area. So ilang family pwede makabisit dito kay naa sila playground area. The penal is provide to access Sablayan to Abra de Ilog Port. Muna siya guys. Sablayan, Libra to Abra de Ilog Port. So the Bureau of Correction is isa sa pasilidad niya nga Sablayan Prison and Penal Form na ay reformation program para sa mga prisoners. So na reformation program, work and livelihood, health services, education and skills, train, sports and recreation, moral, spiritual program, therapeutic community. So ang Sablayan gakuan sila og unom ka reformation program nga gi-implement dito nila para sa kaayuhan sa mga prisuhan. Una ang education program. In this colony, they have formal education from grade 1 to 4. Usa po na sila ALS, alternative learning system, and besides sa pagtudlo sa TISDA on different fields nga ilang mga skills nga ilang ginabuhat dito nga napod sila makatunan ba. Ang ikaduha kay religious and moral program. Ang prisoners are free to join their belief and exercise their religious affiliation. Na sila daghang civilian religious nga volunteer nga niadto dito to guide sa ilahang unsay ilang religious freedom nga mao gatudlo nila dito. Ang ikatulo is behavioral modification program. It deals with the changing of prisoner behavior. Gina-change nila ang behavior sa mga naa dito nga piniriso nga magbag-o sila usapod sa katong mga drug dependent. They have program called therapeutic community, mao ni siyang therapeutic community. And the fourth is livelihood program nga gitudloan ang mga nas piniriso dito nga kung ikaw hilig ka sa lupa, magsasaka ka. If they love fixing things, they go for mechanic works. They are also being trained to make souvenir products nga naslay ginahimo dito nga pwede nila ibaligya sa gawas or laylain nga kuan area sa nga mao ilang ipamalaki ba nga ginahimo na nila dito sa sulod dito duan na sila ana nga pag in if case nga na makagawa sila na sila ang yung ka-start na sila a new life ba. 5 is sports and recreation activities. They teach the prisoner, to engage in different kinds of sports and recreation activities para mentally fit and healthy sila while temporarily sila nga naa sa inside the jail. Nga ang kung unsa ilang ginabuhat dito sa gawas, ila gyapon nabuhat diri sa sulod nga makuan nila ba sa sulod nga kung unsa ilang gibuhat dito sa gawas nga dili sila maboring, di makadula gyapon sila kung unsa ilang mga hobbies. And last is health and welfare. They focus on their good health and maintain them for stay fit at all time. So nag-exercise sila dito sa sulod, magsayaw, zumba nga mo ilang ginabuhat para ang mga prisoner dito healthy ra gyapon sila sa ilahang panglawas. And those are the 6 rehabilitation program nga gi-implement sa Sablayan Prison and Penal Farm. The next is Sablayan Prisoner Penal Farm Sub-Prison. Ang Sablayan Prison and Penal Farm Sub-Prison is divided into 3. First is Pasigua Sub-Prison. Ang Pasagua Sub-Prison established on December 18, 1957. In 1972, Pasigua Sub-Prison is intended for political prisoners and handled with different OICs with almost 50 hectares total land area. Pasig was owned by Armed Forces of the Philippines. And the second is San Isidro Sub-Prison, formerly known as San Isidro Vicente de Prosperoso Prison, securing the reservation and enhancing the agricultural food production. The inmates were engaged in the tree planting, which became necessary routine. So diri nimo makita ang dagko nga mga nara-tree and Stairway to Heaven. And sa taas sa Stairway Heaven naa dito nga ang statwa ni Virgin Mary. O di ba tsada kayo lang prisuhan? Pwede ra kapriso ta po dito ra ta. Joke. Then the third is Siburan sa Prison, was established December 8, 1991 under the supervision and management of 13 guards including COG and civilian employee who take in charge supervising the inmates at the field. So most of prisoners dili na sa akong nakwanan sa akong report, most of the prisoner dili na sila gusto mugawa sa prisuhan kay grabe katsada ang sa Sablayan. Kay aside sa tsada ang lugar, di kan provide the unsay kinahanglan sa ilahang families nasa gawas kay maka-income sila sa sulod ug makatabang pa sila sa sa jail. And also nakita po sila sa lalaing mga pagkikitaan kay daghan mang mga skills nga gitudlo nila. Ang Sablayan Prison and Penal Farm is mura siya og dili prisuhan tungod sa katsada sa palibot na mga program nga gina-offer, and ang mga priso murag wala sila gituri nga mga pinariso nga dapat sanay kanay pahirapan sila ba. Gitagaan gyud sila chance nga magbag-o nga sila makatunan banang if ever nga makagawa sila maka-start sila sa a new life, magbag-o gyud sila. Also ang Sablayan ang Sablayan po open for visitors nga mo visit dito, mga foreign or mga sa kinsa kay sada man gyud ang ilahang prisuhan. Daghang mga naay mga waterfalls, naay mga view nga nature good ba. So ma'am, ora to akong report ma'am.
All right. Thank you for that very comprehensive presentation, Cadet Arsenal. So now it's time for classmates to raise certain questions. Let's have Laila. Laila, what's your first question to the presenter?
Yes, ma'am. So my first question is, kaning how many, di ba, you told us that Sablayan prison is free ra mo visit ang mga kuan, mga pila sila ka limit, and naay exact ba nga day kung kano sa mo visit?
Sa good afternoon buddy. Sa akong nakuanan sa akong report buddy, wala sila limits or unsay oras. Anytime pwede ka maka-visit dito, and then pwede mo makita ang tanan nga unsay mga activity or unsay mga ginabuhat sa mga prisoner dito o mga nature nga mga nasa palibot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, question to the buds.
Okay, buds.
Okay, let's have Ahmad. Ahmad, what's your question for the presenter?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, reporter.
Good afternoon, bye, buddy.
Makatanong ako ba as what you said na sila ALS na kung dito kaning learning system ba?
Yes.
Diba? Makabad. So ako if kung mauman nila ng ALS ba di mo padayon ba nila na, for example, kung nakauman na sila elementary, tas kuan mo graduate na sila high school kay ALS man siya.
Sa akong gi-report ba din na sila formal grade na sila 1 to 4 usa sila mo ato sa ALS kay need nila mo kuan sa formal nga education ba mo tong 1 to 4 din usa sila mo kuan sa ALS murag na sila process sa ilahang pag kuan sa ALS ba dili sila pwede mo direct
if di mo padayon if makuan na mauman na nila if masulod sila sa badi sa ALS badi mo direct na sila senior high badi.
Sa akong report kay wala sila sa kuan pa sa kung unsa ilang i-proceed iguman sa ALS. Mora kung nakuanan jud ba di.
Sige, thank you.
All right. With regards to continuation of education, gikan sa ALS mupunta og formal, was that
Yes,
your
ma'am.
question, Ahmad?
Yes, ma'am.
Gikan sa ALS mupunta og formal education. With regards to the formal education, it depends on the availability of in terms with the educational program of the Kuan Sablayan. If there is an available instructor to provide that specific course that you are looking for, pwede na siya. But then oftentimes, what is offered in terms with the education or oftentimes sa kasagaran, it's only 2-year courses. And then di po mo kabuot because it depends on the
Implement nila, ma'am. O, unsa lang gi-implement.
availability and specialization of the available instructor. Because remember, though Sablayan Penal Colony is better compared to other penitentiaries because it's a penal farm colony, but then again, these people are still considered as sentence prisoners. That is why in terms of earning education, whether through ALS, whether it's a formal education, whether it's a 2-year course, they receive those education itself inside the penal farm. So it's the job, as what was mentioned earlier, it is the job of the instructor to come inside. Dili parehan ninyo who are very free. Okay, nga you can sa unang wapay pandemic, kamo mo moadto sa school. But sa ilahon, it is not the case. Manakasagaran po kato po mga teachers nga who are facing criminal charges, nga ni undergo og preventive imprisonment, oftentimes ganahan sila nga mo teach because they also earn credits for their behavior as service. Okay. Pero kasagaran mga als-als na po dyan. Okay. All right. Very good. So, very prepared kayo despite the temporary technical difficulty encountered. So, congratulations, Arsenal. You got 96 out of 100.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations. Very good. So, let's have Tasa. Tasa? Oh, Tasa. Where's Tasa? Is Tasa around? Tasa, Jo Marie. Jo Marie.
Wala, ma'am.
Naas, Jo Marie. Jumare. Virtually present but physically absent. Okay, who can message Tasa? Okay, so since Tasa is virtually present, only isa i-unpin. Saan ko ni pag-unpin? Unpin, okay. So, i-leave sa nato ng katasa. Let's move. Okay, butang nato X. Kaya wala si Tasa. Let's have Briones. Briones?
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
Wala ko PowerPoint, ma'am. Kay naguba among charger sa akong laptop ba. Ako pa napaayo niya. Wala pa naman naayo, ma'am. Wala ko kakuan PowerPoint, ma'am.
And then what did you prepare?
Kuan ra, ma'am. Search ako sa Google, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay ra, ma'am.
What I choice? Go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. So this is my report. San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm.
Share screen, palihog so that we can see what you're reading.
Okay, ma'am.
Ahmad and Antilan, kindly make sure to prepare. Teka muna yung sunod.
Nakita na, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay na, ma'am. Hello?
Okay na, buddy.
Okay, sige. San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm. San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm, according to historical accounts, the San Ramon Prison was established in southern Zamboanga on August 21, 1870 through a royal decree promulgated in 1869, established during the tenure of Governor General Ramon Blanco, whose patron saint the prison was named after. The facility was originally established for prison persons convicted of political crimes, considered the oldest penal facility in the country. Prisoners in San Ramon were required to do agricultural work. During the Spanish-American War in 1898, the prisoners in San Ramon were hastily released and the buildings destroyed. In 1907, the American administration re-established the prison farm in 1912. General John Pershing, chief executive of the Department of Mindanao and Sulu, classified the institution as a prison and penal colony, and therein confined people sentenced by the courts under his jurisdiction. Under the Pershing's supervision, sentenced by the courts under his several buildings with a capacity of prisoners for capacity of 600 prisoners were constructed. After several years, the colony became practically self-supporting with 75,000 coconut trees, which were planted at the beginning of Pershing administration, contributing to the colony's self-sufficiency. Aside from coconuts, rice, papaya, and other crops were also cultivated. On November 1, 1905, Reorganization Act number 1407 was approved, creating the Bureau of Prisons under the Department of Commerce and Police, integrating the prison, San Ramon Penal Colony, and Iwahig Penal. The Philippine Coconut Authority took over management of the coconut farm from San Ramon. In 1995, Congresswoman Maria Clara Lobregat proposed the transfer of San Ramon Prison to Bunjao town in the mountains area of Zamboanga to give way to a special economic zone. Para ako, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. Mara ako ang airport, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Remove your screen share, Kalibo.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so additional information on San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm. So this was established again in southern Zamboanga in August 21, 1870 through the royal decree promulgated in 1869. So from the word itself, royal decree, it is expected that this was built during the time of the Spaniard regime. So it was established during the tenure of Governor General Ramon Blanco. Okay, that is why ang iyahang naadiri is Ramon, because normally what they do before is that the creation itself is normally named after a person or a place. Okay, whose patron saint, okay, was named after. So the facility was originally established for prisons convicted of political crimes. So this was the original purpose of building the San Ramon Penal Farm. But then again, after the war, okay, after we gained our independence, and until present, the San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm is no longer utilized for political crime offenses, for prisoners who committed political crimes, but rather this has been utilized to house mga medium security and mga minimum security prisoners. So the prison is right in front of Hulu C with 1,414 hectare property. So as you can see, it's quite big. Okay? Oy, di lagi na makita tayo sa. So this is the image of the San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm. Okay? So in terms with the activities, or shall I say mga programs, it's a little bit similar. But then oftentimes when it comes to livelihood program, dihara mo differentiate. Okay, again, with the livelihood program, it depends on the location. So since this is a penal farm colony, since San Ramon Penal Farm is also, since San Ramon Prison is a prison farm and colony, it is expected that in terms with their livelihood program, majority of their activities, okay, under that program is more on agriculture. So agriculture, mananom, normally atumana sila o kuan kana bang in terms with the saging, production of saging, okay? Because banana plantation is a lucrative business actually. If you will try to look at the supermarket, if you're the one responsible for purchasing fruits or food for your family, kami sugoong mama nimo, makita nimo that the price of the banana is very expensive. So sa karon, in terms with the lakatan, ang lakatan is already ranges from 90 to 100 pesos ang per kilo. That is why lakatan is really a lucrative business. So banana plantation is very common. Okay, pero if you will compare its hectare to the other prison farm, it's quite smaller. Pero still, they can do the production, but not too much. So aside from the agriculture, they are also into livestock. That is very common. Mamuhig baboy, mamuhig baka. O, di po sila maproblema, gipakaon. Kaya nga naman, kadagang kumpay. Sa ito'y tawagan ng kumpay, napier. Okay? So ang napier, kanang dili, wag po yung bukid, di kabalo. Ang napier is a type of mura ba o si tawagan na?
Tubo, ma'am.
Murag tubo ug dagway nga makasamad, my goodness.
Katol kayo, ma'am. Ay, mga dapaw, ma'am.
Sige, kasamad ang napier atay kayo.
Tubo.
Di ba, ma'am, dagang nagdapaw, ma'am?
Yes, dagang dapaw, katol kaayo.
Murag tanglad, ma'am.
Tanglad. Uhot dai, ma'am.
A little bit similar in between tanglad and tubo ang iyahang itsura. That is correct. Okay, so in ana ba, it's really more on the agriculture. If you will compare San Ramon Penal Farm compared to the New Bilibid Prison, since New Bilibid Prison is not a prison penal farm, so it is expected that in terms with their livelihood program, it's really more on not on agriculture. Nasa rin mga ginagawang vegetation, pero not the same with penal prison farm. In terms with the education, it's a little bit similar. Education program, it is similar, of course, with the Sablayan penal farm. And naadya sila available ALS. But don't you know, kasagaran sa mga piniriso, ALS man po nilang piliun. Kaya kasagaran po nila were not able to finish elementary, high school, reality man na siya. Mo nang daghan kaayo, ang ALS is a kind of educational program na dili mawala sa bisag unsang klase nga penitentiary, penal farm, or even in the jail. Okay? Saan ni ma'am? Okay. All right. So let's have Abarial. Abarial, first question to Briones. Abarial, we cannot hear you. First question to Briones.
Yes, Maklaro ako, ma'am. Ma'am. Maklaro ako, ma'am.
Yes, klaro rabat. Klaro rabat.
So, unsay kas na-late magud kog surod, ma'am. Kay ka discussion, ma'am. Sa batang
Tahada, first question to Mr. Briones.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Supposedly, my question was, ma'am, kung unsay laing nga program, pero kay na-answera naman ni mo, ma'am, wala na laing question.
Okay. So, let's have Mark Anthony. Anthony, first question to Mr. Briones.
Bads.
Hello, Bads.
Wala ay ko nasa sa airport, ma'am, pero pwede na kong specify naman ba kung unsa siya pagkatao or unsa yung mga attributes para na ako yung something about siya pagkatao, ma'am. Simple question lang, Bads. Tama.
Pagkatao? Kinsang pagkatao dong? Kinsang pagkatao dong?
I mean, yung personality.
Kinsang personality? That topic is kuandong? That topic is San Ramon Penal Farm. It's the penal farm, not a person. But the penal farm.
Sorry.
Okay, sige.
Pwede ko ma-ask questions, ma'am?
Yes, please. Yes, Ralph. What's your question, Ralph?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, buddy. My question
Yes,
is kaning unsay kaning nakita nimo kalahian ana nga prison sa any kind of prison nga makita nimo diri sa Dumaguete.
kani siya nga pwede it's okay to speak the dialect mo. Excuse me, ma'am.
Briones, what's your answer?
Pwede ra mo speak og dialect, ma'am.
You were already speaking in vernacular. Sige na.
Kuan buds kaning kalayan niya sa mga prisons kay kani siya nga prison pwede ni siya kana matamnan siya og mga kuan ba kani matamnan siya og mga coconut rice corn papaya and other crops ba ano siya kan mara siya farm nga prison ba na matamnan siya og mga tanom nana ora buds.
Okay, in terms with the kuandong degree of security house by San Ramon Penal Farm, unsa may ganyang ginabantayan?
Kuan ma'am. Kuan ma'am kaning may bantay siya mga sa farm gabantay pa siya mga farm kanang gipang tanom man ba marag ni kuan siya mga kanang gipang tanom gani gibantayan marag gabantay pa siya mga tanom nga
so that's the main purpose of having the San Ramon Penal Farm para magbantay ra.
Yes, ma'am.
Sige.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question, ma'am.
His answer is incorrect. This is the correct answer. This is based on the 2021 statistical research result. So, in March 2019, there were already about 846 inmates confined in the medium level security in San Ramon Penal Farm in the Philippines. And on the other hand, 268 were imprisoned in the minimum level of security. In fact, I've already mentioned earlier, kung nakapaminaw ka dong, that your San Ramon Penal Farm does not house mga maximum security offenders, but it only houses, again, medium security level and your minimum security level. In terms with the maximum security level, these are prisoners that are normally housed in the New Bilibid prison, not in the penal farm. Almost all types of penal farm only houses medium and minimum security offenders. Okay? So I hope I am clear with that. Yes, what's your follow-up question? Yes, go ahead.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Pila ka hectares ang naa sa San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm, ma'am?
Penal Farm, as what I have mentioned earlier, it's 1,414 hectares.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. All reporters karon, please make sure to send a PPT in ours GC. Ayaw mo kalimot, karong adlaw dapat masend na siya. So, Briones, it's very important that whenever you report, even if you do not have the PowerPoint presentation with you, but you should make sure that you do have the details with you. Okay? Briones?
Okay, ma'am.
I'll give you 80 with your presentation. Let's have Ahmad.
Excuse me, ma'am. Napaunta kay pangutana, ma'am. Okay ra, ma'am?
Yes, go ahead.
Di ba ang prisoner may ang mga farmer anak, ma'am? So maka-benefit po sila, ma'am?
Yes,
sa
yes.
kanang gibaligya, ma'am ba? Dahil asa nga padulong pang uban, ma'am?
Okay, that is a very good question. The answer for this does not only apply with the San Ramon Penal Farm, but it is also applied sa Iwahig, sa Sablayan, and the rest of the penal farms under the Bureau of Corrections. So remember that the proceed itself, it's not only the administration that benefits. Okay? a portion is of course given to the sentenced prisoner. Kay remember, ang main purpose of the livelihood program is to make sure that they are still earning even if they are inside the penal institution. And in that way, while they're earning, sa panahon nga kinahanglan kwarta ilang family members, ilang anak, they can still provide. Pero the income itself is not that much compared if you are really a free person. Okay, remember, portion is provided to the to the sentenced prisoner, and portion is also given to the administration, and the rest is gikwaan na siya sa tanang expenses of that specific penal farm. So ang sobra mo na bahin-bahin nun. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Pero in terms with the food, wala good sila problema. Kaya nga naman, it's an agricultural type of prison institution. So, pagkaon-wise, wala problema. If they want to eat native chicken, they can. If they want to eat baboy, they can. Usa may lisod na, medyo isda. Kay kasagaran, kung isda, normally they go for carpa man.
Wala din sila tilapia sa una, ma'am.
Carpa gani. Hoy, kanang naa sa fresh water, it's not tilapia. Mura nag tilapia itsura, but it's carp actually.
Janitor fish, ma'am.
Hoy, carp akong giingon ha. If the color of the fish is quite reddish, tilapia nga quite reddish o gamay, it's not pure tilapia, it's carpa.
Rampant bang scapy dito, ma'am?
Come again, sorry?
Ang scapy ba? Rampant ba kaayo?
Ang unsa day?
Ang, like, di ba, you told us, di ba, na show to kaganihan na kanang gamay ra ang magbantay sa mga prisoners, di ba? Well, nagkuan sila na nanom or something sa gawas man na dapit, kaning naabay daghan nga nag-escape?
Actually, wala. Kaya as what I have mentioned, majority of these people nga with less to no supervision at all, these are already minimum security offenders. These are already considered as trustees. These are people who are just waiting na lamang para sa order para ma-release. Mo nang di na lang sila ma-escapo. Kaya what's the point kung ma-escapo sila? Madugay ra.
Mas may uban ni abduct siya.
Makakita na sila gugma sa prisuan mo nang di sila mamawa.
Ipo na gapon dito ang bayo og laki, ma'am?
No. As what I have mentioned, in terms with the segregation and inmates, number one base ginabasihan na is of course the gender. So dili pwede magtipon. Ang pwede sila nga na-added to, pero in terms with the building, it's not the same. Yes, okay, Ahmad is ready. Okay, proceed, Ahmad.
Ahmad. Kaya ta, mama. Kaya galag ng laptop mo. So, good afternoon, ma'am. Dungog ako, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, mga buddies. So, sa kuha kay akong report is Ilo-Ilo Prison. So, introduction is prison is an institution such as under state jurisdiction for confinement of prison convicted of serious crimes, and jail is such as place under the jurisdiction of local government such as a country for the confinement of prison awaiting trial or those convicted of minor crimes. The difference between jail and prison is mostly the length of stay for inmates. Jail is more for a short-term sentence, while prison is for those with a long-term sentence. Ilo-Ilo City District Jail Male Dormitory. So, sa Ilo-Ilo, mga buddies and Ma'am JPL is, gilay ang sa Ilo-Ilo ang male and ang female po, ma'am, na mga prison. So, nalocate ang prison is sa Ilo-Ilo City District Jail Male Dormitory is located at Barangay Ungka, Haro, Ilo-Ilo City, 5,000 Ilo-Ilo, Philippines. As what I said, those male convicted with a small or minor crimes are usually that ones that were being placed in the mentioned facility. So mao ni sila na mga prison na mga lalaki na minor ay mga crimes. So due to the data privacy and safety purposes, I was not able to identify a lot of necessary information regarding the prisons in Ilo-Ilo, but based on my knowledge, usually ma'am, ang mga butang diri sa male dormitory na jail are those who committed mga minor crimes and those nga gawait pa sa ilang final jurisdiction ma'am sa ilang mga cases. And next. Then Ilo-Ilo City District Jail Female Dormitory. Then nana po sa last nako is ang male to gilay with the minor cases. Then kanisa sa female po ni. So Ilo-Ilo City proper Ilo-Ilo City as a 2018 survey. So 2018 po ni badi in Ma'am Jipel. Female dormitory has a population of 233 of the number of 217 or 92.34% of drug cases. Senior Inspector Charil Hamolo, ICDJ Warden said, most known by their handmade art by the woman artist of Iloilo City District Jail, female dormitory described as freedom is a process of psychosocial support where women exercise their own sense of freedom, navigating in tight, small, crowded prison space through stories of object. So mga female diri na po sila on freedom ma'am sa sulod na po sa jail and binantayan kini sila sa mga warden. And also next, so BGMP money picture sa BGMP Ilo-Ilo sa Haro Ilo-Ilo City. So ang akong nakakuan diri ma'am sa Ilo-Ilo Governor Arthur Defensor Senior encouraged the person deprived of liberty or PDLS, formerly known as inmates, that there is still second chance for them outside the prison. Defender spent his last birthday as a governor at the Ilo-Ilo District Jail as December 16, 2018. So balikon ako, ma'am and buddies, Ilo-Ilo.
Ahmad, sorry. Did you prepare any presentation about Ilo-Ilo, your topic under the Bureau of Corrections, not under BJMP? Did you prepare anything?
Wala, ma'am. Pero basta sa next question. Muna na ikuan ako ma'am kay kaning sa dili mo gud makita ang kuan ma'am kanang mga gipang search na ko sa Google ma'am kay murag ilang gi-hide dito ma'am ba. Pero ang sa ka-governor last ma'am ni Arthur Defensor Senior is ang mga inmates ma'am as ani siya ma'am. Kani ma'am sa male na kuan ma'am imprisonment is napa sila chance ma'am na maka-outside pa sila sa prison kay as what Governor Arthur Defensor said that that through giving activity tradition that has been practicing for 18 years, then the activity commenced with a holy mass followed by ceremonial gift, more than 2,000 PDLs ma'am na natabangan niya before siya namatay ma'am sa iyang pagkatao sa kalibutan.
All right, kindly stop share. Kindly stop your presentation though.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, kindly revise your presentation because sayo pang imuhang na-present tong it's not, the presentation is good actually, but it covers BJMP. But then again, your report is not about BJMP. Your report is all about the Leyte Region Prison and Penal Farm, which is situated in Abuyog, Leyte.
Ay, ato yung gisulti atong sa last ko na ko ma'am kay Ilo-Ilo man to ma'am prison.
Ay, sorry. Nasave ko. Ilo-Ilo di ay. Okay. Ilo-Ilo.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So again dong sayop ni Ilo-Ilo. Okay. So again dong kindly change binakog Leyte Ilo-Ilo mo din. Okay. Same gyapon dong kindly redo your PowerPoint dong because yours is the Ilo-Ilo prison and penal farm, not the BJMP. Okay? As what I mentioned, no problem with the information. It's very comprehensive. Ang problema ra sa'yo pre mo na research. So I am giving you another chance to redo your PPT, okay?
So next Thursday na lang, ma'am.
Thursday, hopefully, I will not experience any adverse effect from the vaccination. Kaya tomorrow, ato maku-vaccine. So, if okay, ra jud ko, di ko ilang tanon palayo si Mako in tawon, then
Buyag,
we
ma'am,
will
buyag.
meet by Thursday. Okay?
Ma'am, pwede na kumulig, ma'am, kay vaccine. Munta na ako ron, ma'am. Second
Ay,
dose.
pastilan. Go ahead. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. God
You're
bless.
welcome. So, I will not provide any grade. You present again. So, let's have Andilan.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Andilan, I hope you got the correct information.
Wait, sir, ma'am.
Share screen, palihog. Andilan, share screen. Thank you.
Nilag kaya akong cellphone. Nilag ko.
It's okay. Willing to wait.
Isa ako kay lag kayo ng cellphone mama, yun ma'am. Kaya na lang kuan. Okay na makita na ma'am?
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Leyte Regional Prison. Leyte Regional Prison is situated or located in Abuyog, Southern Leyte. It was established a year after the declaration of the martial law in 1972 by the virtue of Presidential Decree Number 28. While its plantilla and institutional plan were almost ideal, lack of funds made the prison unable to realize its full potential and its facilities to often below par compared with those of other established penal farms. So, Leyte Regional Prison, it is located in Abuyog, Southern Leyte, and established after the declaration of the martial law by the virtue of Presidential Decree. So, its plantilla and institutional plan were almost ideal, which means ang iyang template o ilang plano sa about the this planning regional prison is almost perfect, but due to lack of funds, the prison unable to realize their full potential and its facilities. So due to lack of their funds, na kuan ang ilang plano, so wala na kompleto. Not like the other penal farms nga sila kaning garbo sila sa kuan man ba kaning kuan sila funds, then daghan silang mga activities nga ma mabuhat. Then the Leyte Regional Prison has an inmate capacity of 500. So sa una 500 lang capacity nga masulod. It follows the same agricultural format as the main correctional program in addition to some rehabilitation activities. So which means nadya pun siya mga activities like the other penal farms. The prison admits convicted offenders from Regional 6 and from the National Penitentiary in Dinlupa. So, ang Leyte Regional Prison mo, dawat mo, kung sila mga convicted offender from gikan sa Regional 6 o sa Muntinlupa. So, mo pasulod siya pun sila mga piniriso nga gikan sa laing lugar. Then, ang Leyte Regional Prison consists of 861 hectares, and ang karon is ang number of prisoners is almost 700 plus. Then maulang ma'am.
All right. Very short information. Short but sweet. Okay. Ace, one question please.
Prepare daw question niya ma'am niya naman gitubag katong kuan na mga tanan tawag land area sa kuan man ba sa prison yung tubag man siya greater than 61.
Okay. Sige. Let's have a Barial. One question please.
Oh, kila sad kay question nam like nakasabot lang ko sa iya nga kuan report.
Okay,
Pwede ko mga
so how about Sanoy? Question, Sanoy?
My question ba is unsay gikalahian sa Leyte nga penal farm na siya ma'am no?
Yes, yes.
Leyte penal farm and from the other penal farms unsay kalahian nila or kanang naka-differ nila to be exact.
Good question. Sige.
Sa kuha na kung sa akong na tunan is ang different lang nila is about sa fundings lang wala kasi dili sila kuha og fundings meaning dili sila enough fundings para kuha nga perfect ilang prison.
Okay, that is actually true. That is actually true. The common problem magud sa atuang it's not only the problem of the jail but it's also the main problem of the Bureau of Corrections, the various prisons and the various farms that in terms with the budget itself, diya magka-problema. That is why if you are a minimum or a medium security offender, swerte na lamang ka if you will be placed under a penal prison farm. Kaya nga naman, you will not experience too much the bureaucracy is the word, bureaucracy of funding itself. Okay? So, one of the reason also why they've decided to intensify the livelihood program because in this way they can provide also the basic needs of our prisoners. Kaya diha raman na asa man sila magwag fund. That remember that the fund that is allocated by the government is only adequate. So anything that is beyond the adequate, dili na nila beyond beyond what is needed by the through the operational activity of any prison farm, just like your Leyte, dili na siya mahatag. But since they are in a penal farm, maunang medyo ma-address siya og gamay. And each of the penal farm has different budget. So, manang sometimes the help of the local government unit, okay, the assistance, okay, it also serves as it also serves a help to our penal farms. Like any form of donation will really help a lot. Okay. A very good example, like here in Dumaguete, the Dumaguete district, BJMP here in Dumaguete, situated in Bahong Pandan and also in other basit jails. Malipay na sila if they receive donations, like fish donation. Samot na if ting malangsi, malangsi jud ang example, kay common manggod nga, yatag manggod. Labi na sa panahon nga dagkang malangsi, tinuod magud na, mga tawa mo, arte po mong dagko. Tinuod na siya. Sa panahon nga, mutimpo na siya, and there are, the supply is too much, nga dili na kayo makuan. Muna siya nakalami kay others are donating. Donate nila not only sa prisuan but also in the orphanage. And even kanang sa una, uso pa kayo itong mga task force nga kasi tawag ilang ipang-seize, i-confiscate tong mga baligya agani sa mga tindera nga nagbaligya sa areas wherein dili patindahan. Pero karon manako kabanteng manako. Sa una inana na siya. And then ginabahin na siya. Uban are donated to the orphanage, shelters, and others are donated to jails. Sakto na gingon dilan, actually the problem comes with the fund yun. And mga sa tawag ani differences in terms with the funding. Okay? Very good, Andilan, but short and sweet presentation. Okay. So, Andilan, I'll give you 95 out of 30. Out of 100. Congratulations. Sa sunod, nga, gipod, arte kinis Andilan da. Yes, Tinghil, what's your question?
Excuse me, ma'am. question, ma'am. Kabahin sa, naman ay limitation ang presuhan, ma'am, no? For example,
yes.
Alternative way, ma'am, o puno na kayo ang jail, ma'am, o asa ipriso.
Kabalo ka, dili kabuot ang warden, ang director, kay magdepend, they are very much dependent on the commitment order made, produced by the court. So kung maingon diha ibutang ay wa sila mahimo because there is a commitment order. They cannot reject the arrival of a new prisoner or detainee. Ano sa diya? So the physical diversion, the building is really an ultimate problem karon sa atuang correctional administration diri sa Philippines. Ngano man? Dagang piniriso, dagang detainee, wala kayo'y prisuhan. Okay? A good example for that is that whenever mo visit mo sa mga jail, kumato kag jail, if you will look at the statistic, bigger percentage is occupied by detainees, meaning to say final judgment has not been given yet. Okay? And smaller percentage is occupied by those who are serving short sentences. And that kind of principle and result also applies to other penitentiaries or prison. Ano siya problema? And ayaw na ko yung pangutana, mga naman ang naitabo ang ato din kuan, you know what? Our judiciary is really facing a severe lag of cases. It's not because they're not doing their job. They're also doing their job. They're even making strategies and measures in order to expedite the promulgation of judgment and trial. Ang problema ra, nagkan rajud kaayong kaso. That's really a problem. Most especially in this time of pandemic, nisamot kalag ang cases. Mo nang virtual hearings are conducted, but then again, it's daghang mga challenges, same as with the blended class. Daghan kayong challenges. Like for example, mo-answer ron ang kuan witness. Pagkahuman, mitikig na nabuang na. Diba? So, there's really a severe problem. There is really a severe lack of cases. Muna akong giingon ninyo, dako kay tabang ang ato ang barangay justice system. Okay? Dako kay tabang ang barangay justice system. Kamo po, na iba mo sobrang padala sa pride. If the type of crime can be resolved with sincere apology, nawata na lang po ninyo. Sometimes, pride is also the reason why. Like for example, gina lagi kang bawa kag ilok, mo-file jud kag kaso. Ano man? Daga mo kung ingon na nagiinan nga bahugba ba, gichismis nga bugba ba. Mo file pa jud og kaso. These are mga minor violations that can be resolved within the barangay level. Yes, abarial, ma'am, di ko musugot kay di ko bahugba ba. Nana ba? So, naman wasa na siya sa mga problema. Yes? Additional question. Was I able to answer your question, Tinghil?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Anything else? Wala na? Wala na? All right. That's how
question, ma'am.
Ay, Tabares. What's your question, Tabares?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ang question, ma'am, kabayan anang sa Sablayan Penal Colony, anang mga wallless nga prisons, ma'am ba? Unsa yung kuan ana ma'am requirement sa kuan?
Wallless na to do. Prison without wall, it's Iwahig. Yes.
What yung requirements ana sa prisoner para mabalhin anang iyon ana nga colony, ma'am?
Okay. Ang usa nga ginabasihan ana, of course, it is your degree of security. Kaya remember, the degree of security, tulo maguna ka buok. You do have maximum, the medium, the minimum, dapat ay tinatawag na mas ubos versus minimum, which are trustees. And sometimes, the transfer also depends on the order coming from the court. Unang, it was even asked earlier kanina, pwede bang makabuot na nga di nato dawaton kung gahuot? It depends on the commitment order. So in regards to the transfer do, magdepende ko ta sa commitment order nga ihatag. So it's also the kuan pod nga prerogative by the judge kung asa niya ibutang ilugar. But then again, if as what I mentioned, most likely mapunta ka ng mga penal prison farm, of course, if you are categorized as a minimum security offender or you are a medium security offender. Tabares?
So based na siya sa kanang severity of crime.
Yes. And of course, your behavior also. Kay sometimes magud your behavior inside the jail will also serve as basis for the type of security that will be given to you. Like for example, if you're the constant source of riot, so then you will be transferred to a maximum security in ANA. And the type of crime committed also serves as basis in the identification of the security level. Diba, I have already mentioned in our previous discussion that whenever there are newly arrived prisoners, ang unang ginabuhat nila is they do conduct the classification interview. Ang classification interview niyo is composed of different members. Classification board is composed of different members. You do have from the custodial security force or security officer. You do have coming from the health sector. It could be a doctor. One from the spiritual program. Kung Katoliko, de pare. Okay? And one is a social worker. So with the individual assessment of the members, particularly atong concern karon is the degree of security, it is of course determined by the security officer. Okay. So diha pa lamang daan sa classification interview, mahibawan na daan kung unsay type of degree of security that will be given to you. But there are instances na kung i-categorize na ka as medium, pero due to your incorrigible behavior inside the penal institution, like ikaw mo'y siging una-una, makita din kag-away, you're the source of riot, so on and so forth, then there is a bigger possibility that your level of security will be escalated and you'll be branded as a maximum security offender. Tabares, was I able to answer your question? Any follow-up
Yes,
question,
ma'am.
please?
No, wala na, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, you're welcome. So let's have Diaz share screen palihog. Do not be discouraged. Humano na to ni tanan, abot ni Sanoy.
Wait, asa na to? Okay. Madawag ako, everyone. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My topics to be discussed for this afternoon is the definition of prison, who is prisoner, the general classifications of prisoner, and classifications of sentenced prisoners. So, prison is defined as a penitentiary, an institution for the imprisonment or incarceration of persons convicted of major or serious crimes. And also, it is a building usually with cells or other places established for the purpose of taking safe custody or confinement of criminals. It is also a place of confinement for those charged with or convicted of offenses against the laws of the land. So that is the prison. So these are some examples of prison facilities in the Philippines. Yes, yes, that is all. Next is who is a prisoner? A prisoner is a person who is under the custody of lawful authority A person who, by reason of his criminal sentence or by a decision issued by a court, may be deprived of his liberty or freedom. A prisoner is any person detained or confined in jail or prison for the commission of a criminal offense or convicted and serving in a penal institution or a prison. So a person committed to jail or prison by a competent authority for any of the following reasons, which is to serve a sentence after conviction and trial and investigation. So the third topic is about the general classifications of prisoners. The first one is the detention prisoners. So detention prisoners are those detained for investigation, preliminary hearing, or awaiting for the trial. A detainee is a locked up jail. There are prisoners under the jurisdictions of court. So meaning detainee are those individuals which are kept in jail even though they're not yet been convicted of a crime. So that is a detainee. So the next one is the sentence prisoners. So sentence prisoners are offenders who are committed to the jail or prison in order to serve their sentence after final conviction by a competent court. They are prisoners under the jurisdictions of penal institutions. The third one are the prisoners who are on safekeeping, meaning this includes non-criminal offenders who are detained in order to protect the community against their harmful behavior. So some examples of the prisoners who are on safekeeping are the mentally deranged individuals, like for example, an insane person or a crazy person, or it includes also the child with special needs nga katong ni commit of crime. So munay prisoners who are on safekeeping. Then the next one is the classifications of sentence prisoners. So these are the four main classes of four main classes of prisoners. The insular or national prisoners, those sentenced to suffer a term of sentence of 3 years and 1 day to life imprisonment. So 3 years. And then those sentenced to suffer a term of imprisonment cited above but appeal the judgment and unable to file a bond for their temporary liberty. So a bond is kanang a defendant to pay in order to get out of jail temporarily. And then the second one is the provincial prisoners. Those persons sentenced to suffer a term of imprisonment from 6 months and 1 day to 3 years, or a fine not more than 1,000 pesos or both, or those detained therein waiting for preliminary investigation of their cases cognizable by the regional trial courts. And the third one is the city prisoners, those sentenced to suffer a term of imprisonment from 1 day to 3 years, or a fine of not more than 1,000 pesos or both. Then those, it is also detained therein whose cases are filed with the municipal trial courts. Those detained therein whose cases are cognizable by the regional trial court and under preliminary investigation. And lastly, the municipal prisoners, those confined in municipal jail to serve an imprisonment from 1 day to 6 months. And those detained therein whose trials of their cases are pending with the municipal trial court. So that is all about my report for today.
All right. Very good. Okay. Question, palihog. Let's start with Vales. Vales, what's your question for Cadet Diaz?
Wala ra ko question, ma'am. Kasabot ra ko, ma'am.
Kirby, what's your question, Kirby?
My question is, is mental hospital can be considered as prisoners who are on safekeeping?
Mental hospitals? Okay. So that is a very hard question, but I will try to answer that question. So is what mental hospital? No. For me, it's not a prison. Mental hospital mental hospital is like, for example, there are some staffs who take good care of the insane person or crazy person, but it's not exactly a prison because when you say prison, manggod kay anang naa siya sala ba na siya criminal of na siya of anang na siya of criminal offense. That is all.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay. Yes.
Wala na, ma'am. Gitubag ng Ace, ma'am.
Ako, ma'am, na question, ma'am.
Rehabilitation ang mental, ma'am.
So, sa ngalan?
Rehabilitation, ma'am.
Okay, again, the question of Kirby earlier was that, can a mental hospital be utilized for safekeeping? Correct ba, Kirby? That was your main question? Okay, that is a very good question. Ano maguna siya? During trial, mahibawan mapud na by the court, pinaagi sa mga expert like a psychologist or psychiatrist if there is a need to commit a person or the accused in the mental hospital for safekeeping purposes. Okay. Remember nga nakahinumdum mo na ato yung mga exempting circumstance that if a person is insane, dili siya held criminally liable. Pero you need to remember also that there is a so-called lucid interval wherein the exempting circumstance will not apply. Diba? Wala. Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
So just for in case that the person committed the crime during his lucid interval, it means that the person is criminally liable. Yes. Pero if during the promulgation of judgment naana og kalit, of course, prior to commitment, kinahanglan sa ibutang sa mental hospital for safekeeping purposes. If the person backs to sanity, then that's the time he will be asked to serve his sentence in the penal institution or kung asa man siya i-commit by the judge, whether it's in a jail or it's in a prison, depending on the term of imprisonment. Diba? Remember, it was mentioned about earlier by Laila that the place of commitment depends on the term of imprisonment. So if it is below 3 years, of course it is under jail. But when it is above 3 years, it's the prerogative of the judge whether to commit a person in the new Bilibid prison or other prison institution. Because remember, our Bureau of Correction is composed of 2 major prison institution and 5 penal farm and colonies. Usa man ang 2 major prison institutions sa under Bureau of Corrections. You do have your New Bilibid Prison, and you do have your correctional institution for women. What are the 5 penal farms? San Ramon, Iwahig, Leyte, Ilo-Ilo. You do have the Sablayan. Kasi nangalimot mo. Diba? Correct. Okay. Follow-up question, Kirby. Tsaka itong question ni Kirby da. Kirby, what's your follow-up question? No, katawan kang Kirby. Kirby, what's your follow-up question?
Okay na, ma'am. Thank you.
Gituyo mo itong Kirby.
Gikilig mo, Miss Kirby. Good.
Gikilig si Kirby. Okay. Follow-up question, please. What's your other question? Wala na?
Okay na, ma'am. Thank you lang.
Hi, ma'am.
Uy, kuyawan ka ng lang. Saan na? Layla nga lang or Layla nga langga?
Langga na,
Ilan ang call sign, ma'am? Ilan ang call sign, ma'am?
Lang is an endearment short for...
Dili, ma'am, oy.
Shortcut sa langga, ma'am.
When you tell someone lang, sabutan na langga.
Nickname niya lang man, gun, ma'am.
Mao na, ma'am.
Mo bitaw na. When you call someone lang, but pasabutan na, you're calling her or him langga.
Wala, ma'am, sa Ace, ma'am, gakaon, good, ma'am.
May namumuo, ma'am.
May namumuo.
Ma'am, bitaw, ma'am, akong nickname langga. Hello. Ay, lang, sorry.
Okay, lang. Sige. Okay, gikilig si Delfino. Delfino, what's your question?
Kuan, ma'am.
Kung short sentences ra butang ba na sa sa prison or sa jail ra?
Oh, answer Layla.
Oh, lahi ang prison and jail. Kay ang prison kay nakoy giri.
If it's a short sentence, asa ibutang? Prison or jail?
Sa jail kay municipal man or city.
That is correct. Okay, that is correct. As what I mentioned ganina, kung asa mag-serve sila og sentence, it will depend kung unsa ilang term of imprisonment. If it is a short sentence, which is 3 years and below, automatic they will need to serve their sentence in the jail. Dagan kayong jail. BJMP. Usa pa may laing jail. Provincial jail.
Provincial jail.
Problema ba mo? Puhot mo dito. Okay? But when it is above 3 years, mo nang adto na siya sa jurisdiction sa atong Bureau of Corrections. That is why it was mentioned earlier na gitawag na siyang national prisoners. Correct, Layla?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
National and the other term is insular prisoners. So very good, Layla. You got 99 out of 100.
Thank you.
Wala
Wow.
na lang
Kakerberay na si Tiat.
Malibang ako, charot.
Record ba ta? Okay, so let's continue. Sanoy, walas Adan. O, ako yung ma-report ani ka Adan.
Okay, ma'am.
Ako diri, ma'am.
Ay, Nadia, sorry.
Ma'am,
Okay, go ahead, Adan. Share screen, please. 0 na ta ka, Adan. Adan,
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
share screen.
Yes, ma'am. Ang kita ra, ma'am.
Yes. Sanoy, be ready, San.
Yes, ma'am.
So, ay, kanay. Madungog ra ko, ma'am? Hello?
Yes, buddy, madungog ra.
So, good afternoon. My report is about classification of prisoners according to the degree of security. So there are four kinds of degree of security. The first degree of security is what we call supreme maximum security. This security is a special group of prisoners composed of incorrigible, intractable, and highly dangerous persons who are source of constant disturbance even in a maximum prison. So when we say super maximum security, it is a control unit person levels of custody, which is in the prison system. Its objective is to provide long-term segregated housing for inmates classified as the highest security risk in the prison, who pose an extremely serious threat to both nation and global security. Ang famous pod nga ga-offer og super maximum security nga prison is ang New Bilibid Prison. And the main purpose of super maximum security is it is designed to minimize inmate movements and increase the ability of correctional officers to observe inmates and isolate the inmates from negative prison influences. So, ang maximum security, they generally hold prisoners serving long sentences. These prisoners have committed murder, example murder, robbery, kidnapping, treason, or other crimes. Ang kapalibot aning super maximum security is high store walls, chain fences, and surrounds most of the maximum security prison. So they are, sila may pinaka ginatagaan jud og panlantaw sa mga security officers because mga aggressive kining mga utok aning mga tawo nga naa sa super maximum security. Next is the maximum security prison. So there is a maximum security prison this is the group of prisoners who is whose escape could be dangerous to the public or to the security of the state. It consists of constant troublemakers but not as dangerous as the super maximum security prisoners. Their movements are restricted, same ra pud sa super maximum security, and they are not allowed to work outside in the institution but rather assigned industrial shops within the prison compound. So, kani pod sila is pag aning ang maximum security prisons, they generally hold prisoners serving long sentences also. But these prisoners have committed murder, robbery, kidnapping, treason, or over serious crimes. So, same rin sila sa super maximum ug sa maximum security, but mas higher lang jud ang security level sa super maximum security. But they have, same rin sila og mga prisoners ba nga they are a great threat if makagawa sila, and they are also in the new Bilibid prison in Muntinlupa. It's the main penitentiary designed to house the prison population. So next is medium security prisoners. So in the medium security prisoners, same sa gipang report ni Briones Guinea ga-offer og medium security o katong minimum security prisoners. Ang medium security prisoners is those who cannot be trusted in open conditions and pose lesser danger than maximum security prisoners in case they escape. It consists of groups of prisoners who may be allowed to work outside the fence or walls of the penal institution under guard or with escort. So, kani sila ang medium security prison, they are usually reserved for a white-collar criminals who have committed acts such as embezzlement or fraud. And although these are serious crimes, they are non-violent in nature, and therefore the perpetrators are not considered to be a risk of violence. These perpetrators are sent to facilitate to the facilities that offer a dormitory-type living environment with fewer guards and more personal freedom. Like sa gipangsulti nilang Arsenal Guinea nga naa sila mga livelihoods nga ika-offer, naa sila freedom nga makadili sa ingon nga makagawas-gawas sila sa compound, but they have freedom to do their jobs inside sa prison. And also then next is the minimum security prisoners. So in the minimum security prisoners, this is a group of prisoners who can be reasonably trusted to serve sentence under open conditions. And this group includes prisoners who can be trusted to report to their works, assignments without the presence of guards. So, diri pod sa minimum security prison is ang inmates is in a minimum security prisons only. They are not considered as dangerous, and they are unlikely to flee from prison. Many of these inmates were convicted of such non-violent crimes such as business theft, perjury, obstruction of justice, and perjury. And if when we talk about their uniforms, orange color prison uniforms, mo ni siya ang gisuot sa mga tawo nga na detain na priso under sa super maximum and maximum security prisoners, while blue color prison uniform is nani sila ang uniform sa mga under sa medium security prisoners, and while brown color of prison uniform is mo ni siya ang uniform sa mga prisoners sa minimum security prison. Dayon mo to siya tanan, ma'am.
Alright. Para sa gani ang blue color for
medium security prisoners, ma'am. Mo na siya ang dito. Unsa, ma'am?
Brown.
Ang brown, ma'am? Kuan, ma'am? Kuan ni sila, ma'am, mga under ni sila sa mga nani sila mga nakakommit ni sila white collar mga gitawag ni sila mga white collar criminals, ma'am, who have committed acts such as embezzlement or fraud. Mga ingana, ma'am.
What degree of security ang mo gamit sa color brown?
Ma'am?
What degree of security ang mo gamit? Ang mo gamit sa color brown uniform.
What?
Can you hear me?
Ma'am? What?
Diba you have mentioned
Yes, ma'am.
earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have mentioned earlier that there are different colors.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm asking you what color brown represents in terms of the degree of security.
No, ang katong last imong giingon ma'am, unsa to ma'am? Sorry kay mama.
Okay na, no problem. Okay, again, I will repeat.
Yes,
Kung
ma'am.
mogamit sila og color brown na uniform, unsa man ilahang degree of security?
Na sila, they are, if ang prisoner is wearing color brown of kuan o color brown nga uniform, is naani sila, under na sila sa minimum security prisoners. Naana sila sa they are considered as not kuan. They are sa my gosh. Tula. Oh, I'm sorry kay ma'am.
Yes. Actually, that is correct.
Security prisoners.
Yes, that is correct. So, munang kamo, in order to identify the degree of security that is given to a certain inmate, it's very important that you need to look at the color of their uniform. Pero it's not everyday nga magamit sila o color silang uniform. Okay, naara na certain days of, sometimes certain day or days in a week wherein they are required to really use, they are required to use the color of the uniform. And dapat nila sila mag-baylo-baylo. Why? Because each color of the uniform has a corresponding kanabang number nila, serial number nila that represents a specific inmate. Muna dili pwede nga mag-ulusanay, mag-exchange gift. Okay, dili pwede magbayloanay. So kinahanglan if that is given to you, mao jud ang imuhang gamiton. So in terms with the number of days and the specific day in a week wherein they need to use their uniform, makita man na silang manual, pero the warden or the wardress or the director is given the authority to change the number of days. Pwedeng iyang himong every Monday, every Wednesday, or MW. So depende rin sa administrator, the director or the warden or the wardress in a certain jail, for example. Okay, very good. So let's ask Arsenal. What's your question, Arsenal?
Wala ko question, ma'am. Well said kaya pag-repeat ni Adam ma'am.
Well said. Muraga sabot ko nida. Klaro
wala.
Kayo, sabot siya ni.
Wala.
Okay, sige. Let's have Delfino. Take it away, Delfino.
Excuse me, Sir Adan. Unsa day kalayaan sa maximum o super maximum?
Sa kuan, ang maximum security prisons, they hold kuan, same sila nga, gahold na sila og mga long sentence prisoners, but ang nakalahi nila is ang super maximum security is kuan sila they are more kuan man ni sila they represents the most secure levels of custody in the prison systems, kay ga objectives man ni sila og mga kuan ilang objectives ani good is para ma-prevent ang kanang bitaw mag-away-away Japon sulod sa sa prison ba, og kaning sa maximum security diri sa nakalahi sa maximum security is these are the group of prisoners whose escape could be dangerous also to the public security, to the public or to the security of the state. But paano sila? They are sige to. Pero but kuan ni sila but maximum security prisons generally hold the prisoners kuan oo. Sa kuan na sila mga kanran nakalahi ra nila is oh my gosh not tuna ano ko na mental block ko ma'am. Sorry kay ma'am.
Okay,
Kuan.
sige. Go ahead. Sige. You're on the right track. Go ahead, please.
Pero ang kuan ni sila ang nakalahi sa nila is kaning kuan sa maximum security is ang mga prisoners under ani nila pod is they are ang kalagmitan nga na sentence ani is 20 years or more na mga under the review of the Supreme Court and offenders who are criminally insane having severe personality na sila og emotional disorder but still same na sila nga mga aggressive nga mga persons nga na prison ana nga kuan facility.
All right. Last question from Laila.
So my question is, why do they wear the super maximum prisoners and maximum security prisoners? Why do they wear the same color of uniform, which is orange? And how can we identify them, man, if they are super or the super maximum or the maximum security only?
Ay, ako yung answer, Ana. Actually, ako yung answer, Ana, daw. On behalf of Adan. So, ano mo guna siya? It has been a long debate in the field of criminology whether there is really a so-called super maximum. Kay matod pa sa justification sa ubang expert in criminology that there is no higher than the word maximum. But then in the usual coded information, nakastipulate naman gud ang super maximum. So it was then decided na wala tay gitawag nga super maximum. That in response to your answer, Laila, that is the primary reason why the color of the uniform sa maximum and even katong mong gi-mention guys super maximum is just the same because all of them are categorized as maximum degree, maximum inmate. Okay? So, muna siya yung rason. Alright? So, inana, so muna karon in your board exam phone, wala mo yung makita nga super maximum. What you will find is maximum. Because again, final say nila, there is no higher than maximum. Because maximum is the highest. Okay? Wala na? Okay na ta? Alright. Very comprehensive presentation, Adan. So you got 100 out of 100. Congratulations. Bisag na.
Yay!
Alright. Ako?
Ma'am, permission to speak, ma'am.
Yes. Tasang ano naman pugkatas?
Ma'am, kaning ko ba? Kaning wala ko kag mag-PPT, ma'am. Tapos, pero na ako'y nagkuhan, ma'am. Pwede rin ako istorya, ma'am.
No. Dapat na kayo ma-share screen. Dahil sa ulat sa kanay parent. I know that you did not respond because you are making. Okay? Wait for a minute. Ay musik tabi kay ka-record ko. Kamay lang, maliit na bagay. Kanay parent. Okay? Ay mo pagtabi kay di ko kabalo mo edit. Bye-bye. Ulat.
Okay, ma'am. Bye.
Ay, hello. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes,
Ralph?
ma'am.
Ralph, are you still there, Ralph?
Marunong ba yung data, ma'am?
Pasaylo ako ha. We will continue na lamang this one next week, okay? So I
Okay,
will
ma'am.
give please make sure reporters nga human nag-present karon, please make sure to send your PPT in our GC today, okay?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
yes,
Among
yes,
oral,
yes.
ma'am.
Naapakod ka istorya dari. So, dili
Okay,
sa
ma'am.
nato i-continue ha. So, we will have it next week. Okay? Pang-intra niya mo sa tong games karong Friday. Alright?
ma'am.
Ay, tanan mo
Islamic team.
pasensya na dugay ko ha.
Wow.
Pasensya. Attendance palihog. Okay na ni? Alright. Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
Amping mo. Amping.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's all.
Oo. Sige. Bye-bye. Amping.
Bye-bye, ma'am.
Amping mo. Amping. Bye-bye.
Ma'am, ang doktor, ma'am, nakita sa...
Say, doktor.
Ma'am, ang doktor ba, nakita, naka-witness siya, crime, considered ba siyang expert witness or ordinary witness?
Ay, ordinary ra. Dili pwedeng
Lagi.
expert. Unless if ato na binang discuss may
Gani,
consider
unless
kang
if
expert if the
gitawag.
question correct. If ang nature of inquiry is based on your expertise. Pero kung
Okay,
naka-witness
bye-bye.
na ka nga gitugma, cannot be.
Thank
Ordinary.
you.
Bye-bye.